Why is the Greek egeneto translated as became in John 1:14, came in John 10:35? So why is the word translated one way in one place and another way?
Of course, anybody who has a modicum of understanding of language knows that words have different meanings in different contexts. So the idea that you can have somebody was reciting this concordant literal translation is a disaster. The theory is that every word should have exactly the same equivalent every time it comes. That is absolutely false. Words don't work that way. So the one there in 1:14 is very clear. The word, little w, not a second God in the Trinity, but the word, the mind of God, the word in the beginning there, in the beginning was the word, not a capital W. It doesn't say it was a person. In fact, it says the word was God himself. So let's get that clear. The word was God himself. There's only one God. The word wasn't another person until a miracle occurred in the womb of Mary, and God then allowed his word, his mind, his self-expression to come into being, came into being a human being at that miracle and began to dwell among us. So I don't find that in any way difficult.
Just while we're on John 1, Anthony.
Yeah.
So it goes on to say, we beheld the glory of him, of two. Now, this word of two is used in the opening of John. So all things through of two, now referring to the logos of two in verse 14 is him, Jesus. But you're saying that of two, the him here is not Jesus.
The word, it's a question of what you do with the word at the beginning. In the beginning was the word. That's a little w, not a person other than God. The word was God himself at the beginning. It wasn't somebody else. That word, and your word is your self-expression. Everything we say is an expression of ourselves. That word was God's mind. Take the capital W off there. There was no capital W on that word for all of those 50 translations before the King James. They suddenly began to put a capital W, very misleading. It suggests it's a second person.
And they also, Anthony, as you can see in the NASB, which is a reflection of most translations, they also capitalized the him.
Yes, of course, because they've decided that this means in the beginning was the second member of a triune God.
So does that word of two only mean him, or can it mean also?
It can mean it. Of two is the genitive. The reason for the genitive is the ya here, which is a preposition. Prepositions in Greek govern nouns or pronouns. In this case, the ya, aftu, the aftu. The a drops out for pronunciation reasons. And it was through it, all things came into existence through it or him. You make a choice. Aftu can mean through him. It can equally mean through it. If you've already decided that this is the second member of a triune God, then you're going to say him. But I just say that translation's wrong. All things were made through it, and that word was not another person. Now, if you mean made through God's self-expression, then that's fine. But you see, the problem is that Mark 12:29 states for all of us what Jesus believed about God. He agreed with the Jew. John 17:3, which is the Lord's Prayer in John, really. Jesus, now listen carefully to this, Jesus defined the Father as you, Father, the only one who is true God. Is that clear? Your child of two understands it. If you say to your son of two, you, John, are the only son called John that I have, that child understands it. Jesus described the Father as being the only one, or monos alitinos theos, the only one. That excludes everybody else. There's a nice passage somewhere in the New Testament where Paul says, only Luke is with me. Let's argue about that. Let's not. There's no need to argue about simple words like that. If you say only Luke is with me, you mean nobody else was with me. If you say you, Father, are the only one who is the true God, you mean nobody else can be. That means Jesus cannot be the only true God. The Holy Spirit cannot be the only true God. Nobody else cannot be. These are very easy issues of language.
Don't believe us, by the way. Check it out on our website. You go to articles under Jesus there. So we have them by topic. Click John 1 in 50 plus translations. You should get this nice article by Anthony. He has copied virtually all known translations that instead of the him there, the of two, it's, as you can see, it. So that proves that we're not alone in this battle, right?
No, that's right.
This is
example.
just a matter of simple biblical Greek grammar, by the way.
Yes,
It's nothing to
yes.
do with Anthony Buzzard, Carlos. Just check out the lexicons. Words have meanings depending on their context. And it's as easy as that, believe it or not.
Well, the word only is not a difficult word. Your child of 2 understands that. We have made theology into a nightmare of complexity and then argued about it endlessly and even killed each other over it. Heaven forbid. Supposing the Shema, the Creed of Israel, is simple and meant to be simple. God is a single person. Singular personal pronouns describe God thousands upon thousands of times.
Neither is the word one difficult. So
Not at all
one
difficult.
just means